I was only 16 when I got married, and even now when I say that out loud, it doesn't feel real. 16 is an age when a girl should still be figuring out who she is, laughing too loud with her friends, dreaming about stupid little things, being innocent, being free. But I wasn't free. I was already somebody's wife before I even understood what being a woman really meant. And then just 1 year later, at 17, I became pregnant. Not because I was ready, not because I had dreamed about becoming a mother, not because my body, my heart, or my mind were prepared for it. It happened because in my world, once you were married, your feelings didn't matter as much as your role did. People hear a story like mine, and sometimes they assume, well, you were married, so that's just what happens next. But they don't understand how terrifying it is when your life starts moving faster than your soul can keep up. They don't understand what it feels like to still feel like a child inside, while everybody around you expects you to carry the weight of a grown woman's life. At 17, I was still just a small, innocent girl. I know some people will hear that and think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I still wanted softness. I still wanted safety. I still wanted time. I had not even fully grown into my own body yet, and suddenly that same body was being expected to handle marriage, pressure, intimacy, pregnancy, and pain all at once. I wasn't physically mature. That is the truth. And that truth lived in my body every single day. When I found out I was pregnant, I didn't feel joy first. I felt fear, pure fear, the kind that drops into your stomach and stays there. I remember sitting with that knowledge and thinking, how is this happening to me already? I wasn't thinking about baby names or little clothes or sweet family moments. I was thinking, I'm still a child. How am I supposed to do this? That was the part nobody seemed to care about. People noticed the pregnancy, they noticed the role, they noticed what I was becoming on the outside, but hardly anyone stopped to ask what was happening to me on the inside. And inside, I was scared all the time. Every day, I was scared. Every night, I was scared. I was scared of the pain. I was scared of what pregnancy would do to my body. I was scared of childbirth before I even had the words to explain why. I was scared of becoming a mother when I still felt like I needed one myself. That kind of fear changes you. It makes even ordinary days feel heavy. And what made it harder was that my husband never truly understood me. He didn't understand my feelings. He didn't understand my fear. He didn't understand my pain. From the outside, maybe it looked like I was settling into married life the way I was supposed to, but inside that marriage, I often felt alone, very alone. There's a specific kind of loneliness that comes when the person closest to you doesn't really see you, when they see your role but not your heart, when they expect your body to carry things your spirit was never ready for, when they move through marriage like it's normal. But for you, every part of it feels too heavy, too early, too fast. That was my reality. I think that's what people miss when they talk about young marriage and young pregnancy. They focus on the event, but not the emotional cost. They talk about what happened, but not what it felt like. And what it felt like was this, like I was being pulled into womanhood before I'd even finished being a girl. And pregnancy made that feeling stronger. My body struggled. Everything felt harder because I was so young. I was tired in a way I had never known before. My body hurt in ways I couldn't explain properly. Some days I felt weak. Some days I felt overwhelmed. Some nights I would lie awake and feel panic rise in my chest because I knew this pregnancy was real, and I knew there was no pausing it, no slowing it down, no asking life to wait until I was ready. That's the cruel thing about becoming pregnant before you are emotionally and physically prepared. The world keeps moving like it's all natural, all normal, all expected. But inside, it can feel like your whole self is crying out, this is too much for me. And I wish more people understood that marriage does not automatically make a girl ready. A ring does not make fear disappear. A wedding does not turn a child into a grown woman overnight. And pregnancy does not become easy just because it happened inside marriage. That is one of the biggest lies people tell. I was still young enough to want to enjoy life, to play, to laugh without carrying this giant invisible weight inside me. I should have had more time to simply be, more time to grow up at my own pace, more time to understand my own body before it was asked to hold another life. Instead, I was learning everything through pain. And the hardest part is, I didn't always know how to say no to what was happening to me. I didn't always know how to protect myself. I didn't always know how to explain that just because I was married didn't mean I was ready. In so many ways, I had been taught to endure before I had ever been taught to understand myself. So I stayed quiet more than I should have. I carried fear quietly. I carried confusion quietly. I carried pain quietly. And when a girl learns to suffer quietly, people start calling that strength, but sometimes it isn't strength. Sometimes it's just survival. That was me at 17. Surviving something that everybody else expected me to accept gracefully. What confuses people even more is this part. During the pregnancy, my husband loved me a lot. And yes, that made things emotionally complicated. Because when someone hurts you by not understanding you, but then shows tenderness in certain moments, it creates confusion. It doesn't erase the pain, but it makes your heart question itself. During my pregnancy, he became more caring in some ways, more protective, more attentive. There were moments when I felt looked after, moments when I thought maybe now he sees me, maybe now he understands I'm fragile, maybe now he realizes how much I've been carrying. And that softness mattered to me because I was so young and so desperate for comfort. But love during pregnancy did not erase what came before it. It did not erase the fact that I had entered all of this too early. It did not erase the nights I felt afraid. It did not erase the loneliness of being misunderstood in the first place. And it definitely did not erase the reality that I had become pregnant before I was truly ready in every way that mattered. That is why this story is so hard to explain to people. Because it is not simple. It is not just a story about a bad man or a good man. It is not just a story about marriage or pregnancy. It is a story about what happens when a girl is pushed into adulthood before her body, her mind, and her heart have caught up. It is a story about fear living inside silence. It is a story about how you can be cared for in one moment and still deeply wounded by the life you were forced into. And I think that's what stayed with me the longest. Not just the pregnancy itself, but the feeling of being too young for all of it. Too young to carry that kind of pressure, too young to understand that kind of emotional weight, too young to be lying awake at night wondering if my body could handle what was coming, too young to already feel like life had skipped over my girlhood and gone straight to responsibility. When I look back now, I don't see a woman who was ready for motherhood. I see a 17-year-old girl trying not to drown, a girl who needed time, a girl who needed protection, a girl who needed to be understood, not rushed, a girl who still had the right to be innocent. And maybe that's the part I want people to sit with. Just because something is common does not make it harmless. Just because something happens inside marriage does not make it right. And just because a girl survives early pregnancy does not mean it didn't break something inside her. I survived it. But survival and readiness are not the same thing. At 17, I became pregnant, and the truth is, I was never truly given the chance to choose that moment for myself, and when that choice is taken away from a girl, even inside marriage, something sacred is lost. So if you're listening to this and you've ever felt like life forced you to grow up too soon, if you've ever carried responsibilities your heart was not ready for, if you've ever smiled on the outside while quietly breaking on the inside, I just want to say this. I understand. And if you want, I can also talk about what pregnancy was actually like for me day by day at 17. The fear, the body changes, the emotional pain, and the things nobody ever tells young girls until it's too late.